realizing America is not the most evil country is scary for a lot of freaking reasons. Like, there's like, the obvious of like, oh, everyone I associate with thinks America's like one of the most evil countries. So if I like disagree with them, that's going to be like a scary, like, you can't disagree with people. You would be disagreeing with all your friends, especially if you're in a cult. That's scary to like disagree with people. And then there's also like the additional reasons of like, because when you like understand how bad things, even if you don't think America's bad, like you have to on some level like understand like there's bad things America's done. So when you realize America's not one of the most evil countries, that's essentially saying like, oh, it gets even worse than this, which is like also scary because it's like I don't I'm like, if America, as bad as America is, it gets even worse, that's really scary because that's like, oh shit, there's no good countries out there. Like, they're all fucked up. They're all like evil. Like, the everyone's evil.
Well,
And then there's also like when you know like the bad things America's done, to like say, oh, America's still like, to argue that America is not one of the most evil countries, it feels like you're making fun of and making light of like all the bad things America's done. Like, to say America's not one of the most evil
what about
countries,
some
I
of the
feel
what
like,
about the good things? What about the good things that America has done? All the good things it has. Can you acknowledge that?
oh, I feel like I'm not totally mentally there yet.
Okay, okay. All right, okay.
I mean, America's one of the least anti-Semitic countries,
No, it's not.
so I can give America that.
America is not
What do you mean it's
anti-Semitic.
not?
It's anti-Semitic?
I said one of the least anti-Semitic.
Oh, least. Okay, okay, okay. All right. Is there something small to get you to like no pressure? Okay. Is there some a tiny little good, not a big, not like a huge good thing that America has done? Okay, but is there something tiny that it could be like, oh, America has done this and that's good? Just a tiny, like a tiny bit.
The cop who killed George Floyd was prosecuted, so America did take accountability.
Okay, the accountability that the United States has. You
I
think
wouldn't say
that's good?
America does what it should in terms of accountability, but it has shown ability to take accountability in some instances.
Okay, I'm proud of you. This is great progress. Okay. I know this is uncomfortable for you. Okay. And I know we disagree a lot. You know, I happen to believe that America is the greatest force of good in the world. Right. Um, and I think the contribution that America has made to the world far outweighs anything bad they have ever done. And not only that, that distance between what the good and the bad that they have done is so wide, that is wider than any other country has ever done in history of civilization ever. I think the world is a much better place because of United States. I think so many people are out of poverty globally because of the presence of United States. I think there's so much less war. There's so much more peace and stability in the world because of United States. I think the whole world owes United States because of the science, the technology that comes out of United States. The whole world has become a better place. I think the level of hunger dropping to historical lows is because of the technology and the science that comes from the United States. Um, I think that if you look at this, most of the diseases in the world has been eradicated, like to levels that is has been unimaginable. Most of the disease that we don't have to deal with is because of America's contribution. One thing that people is I love about United States is that every time there is a natural disaster somewhere around the world, Americans are the first to show up and they're the last to leave. And they don't have to do that. And they do that every single time, every single time. But there's so many the way that the way that United States has contributed to the world, to its stability, to its safety, to its prosperity, to lowering disease, to lowering hunger, to lowering violence is so many, it's too many to even count. So I think America is actually the best thing that has happened to the world, to the human civilization.
It's really sad that human civilization's just fucked up.
It's not fact that the human civilization is not. I see so much beauty around the world. I hope you one day see that. I see, like, like we are, Samantha. We are living in the best of times. Like, we, like, there's so, like, can like when you see hunger levels reaching historical lows, when you see so many people having more access to, clean water in a way that it was never imaginable for 10,000 years, when you see people living like kings, that living lives that kings would be jealous of for most of history, and they don't even know that they're living lives that kings would be jealous of, like, isn't that, doesn't that give you optimism that we're moving in the right direction? Like, it's beautiful. Like, if you I hope one day you could see the world the way I see it, because it's so motivating to see how much progress we're making, and it seems like we're moving in the right direction.
The Taliban legalized child marriage.
Actually, listen to this. Child marriage was way more legal. The fact that you say the Taliban legalized child marriage shows that you have to look for somewhere in Afghanistan to find something that vile. Okay? 200 years ago, you didn't have to go all the way to Afghanistan to find that example. Right? The fact that you have to look at the example that you just gave, right? When you say the Taliban legalized child marriage, that means that you have to go to a place like Afghanistan to be able to find something that vile. Just 200 years ago, you didn't have to look that hard to be able to find something like that. It was everywhere. That is progress.
Okay, we have a lot of responses. First up is Sketch.
I don't want to speak to specifically any particular person. I just want to talk generally. Generally, people in a cult will hang on to things that are not true and state them as true. When you say realizing America is not the most evil, you have to presuppose that it is evil. Your old mic is open, Dejal. You have to presuppose that it is evil, right? So they speak in presuppositions. They speak for people that are not them as if they were, like saying, "Oh, George Floyd is this hero. I'm black. He's not our hero. He doesn't represent us." And any white liberal that tries to think that George Floyd represents us is insulting us. It is offensive to tell black people, "Yeah, this is your hero. This is your saint." Is one of the most offensive thing that this fentanyl overdosing criminal is a representation of us. Now, I usually don't wear my immutable characteristics as a shield. Like, I don't call myself Puerto Rican Sketch. I don't call myself Black Sketch. I don't call myself Latino Sketch. But usually, people in the cult, because they use these things as shield, they put that as their first and foremost identity. And when your identity is tied to something immutable, you can't change your position because all your positions come from that immutable characteristic. There's also a problem in the mentality of these people as far as they have such a narrow selfish view of the world that the only thing that matters to them is what they're feeling. They don't care about thought, they don't care about facts, they care about feelings, right? So they'll say things like, well, I feel, I experienced, and this is what I went through, as if that is statistically meaningful. There's 7 billion people on earth. Every time we're talking about some statistic fact-based event and it's countered by some anecdotal experiential counter, you forget that for the last 10 years, anecdotal experiential counters have been used to cancel and to destroy the left. I didn't say a name. If anyone in the chat is trying to say, I see a name, right? Because I said, I'm not going to speak anyone in particular. But now what's going to happen is selfish people, no matter what you say, they think you're talking about them because they think the world revolves around them. So no matter what you say, they're going to take it personal, right? So when I was speaking about the people that called him a hero, I meant literally the people that called him a hero. Now, this has been used against us. The reason why conservatives will have an automatic rejection of any experiential or my point of view where I know a guy, this is the way I feel. Well, you got to understand my life experience. You have to validate my life experience, is because that has been used for 30 years to kick us off YouTube, kick us off Twitter, kick us off platforms, debank us. So if you notice that whenever some leftist is talking, well, but I went through and I know a guy and my friend and I feel, but what about my experience? We're gonna say you're either lying, or this is statistically meaningless, or you're just being selfish, narrow-minded, and self-centered. Why am I saying this? Am I trying to be mean? No. I'm going to get to my point. My point is, if you are on the left and you want the right to understand you, you need to speak not from your point of view, but from a wider point of view. Because on the right, we want a wider uh, breadth of data. We want to do the best good for the largest amount of people, as Armin likes to say. And if you're going to go off your selfish feelings and your selfish point of view, we're not going to understand you. It may be valid. You may be correct about your feelings, and your feelings may extrapolate to a larger community, a larger section of the population, a larger data set. But because you started the conversation from this anecdotal, selfish, self-centered perspective, we're going to reject it outright. So what I suggest is to people on the right, on the left, that want to speak to people on the right, first of all, don't presuppose facts that you can't prove are facts. Don't these presuppositions as fact feel like an attack, right? If you care about feelings, I'm explaining. If you care about your feelings, understand what we will feel as soon as someone is using anecdotal, self-centered, experiential evidence against us. So when you speak to the right, understand the larger the data set and the less personal the perspective you bring, the more it is likely to be accepted.
Okay, next up we have Halda.
Hey, I actually found this conversation rather interesting because, on my campus, I see quite a few people, that are really upset with, the division of rich versus poor, educated versus non-educated, you know, um, blue collar versus, white collar, et cetera, et cetera. And it always seems to stem from people that have this idea that everybody is the same. Everybody needs to be treated equally. Everybody should have the same shots at life, et cetera, et cetera. They seem to think that this is some sort of American standard, I think, or maybe a world standard, and it's not true. We have to put in effort for anything to work. I mean, anybody who knows me really closely knows that I'm looking at relocating overseas. And I have my reasons for doing this. It's not necessarily that I hate America, but I do really dislike the economic issues that are going on here. But stating that, I think that we have to recognize certain things about being here, because I'm assuming you're talking about America. We're sitting here right now able to talk freely on an internet without any sort of limitations, no filtering, no mentoring. Unless we threaten to kill somebody, we can pretty much talk about whatever we want to talk about. And I find that that's a gift. And then the fact that, at least at my time zone, we're sitting here at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Maybe even 20, 30, 40 years ago, we'd have been out there working. I think that we have come into an age that it's almost like the Romans, where the Romans literally had so much in their lives that they were trying to find things to do to keep themselves entertained. They had parties, et cetera, but they were still complaining all the time. So I don't really know what I'm trying to say here. I think I lost my train of thought. But we've got so many things that we are literally taking for granted. It's almost like we are trying to find flaws just so that we have something to pick at, like a scab almost. And I think that we have to be really, really careful to avoid that and try to, even if it's like 2, 3 times a day, sit down and say, what kind of positive things do I actually have? Do I have the ability to speak freely? Do I have the ability to go buy any book I want to buy and it's not being banned or censored? Do I have the ability to watch anything on TV that I want to watch? Can I talk to anybody? Can I be friends with anybody? Am I able to interact with people of different religions? We have a lot of gifts here that I think that we take for granted. And I think that we have to be really, really careful. And I do think that we have some serious issues with the left bringing almost like a paranoia. And I have noticed this, like I said, on my campus, I see it with my own family. And I just think it's something that we have to guard against so that it doesn't rub off on us. Because as we all know, negative energy seems to be very catching. So if we can just somehow spin it to be a little bit more positive, I think that we're going to find a lot more happiness in our lives. That's all I have to say.
Up next, we have Jilly.
Samantha, I think a lot about what you said. And I thought I'd tell you what happened to me when I was your age and I was very young and very idealistic and I wanted human society to be perfect. And it took me a long time to realize that there is no perfection in human societies of any sort, because humans are not perfect. And unfortunately, it's the actions of the bad minority that can hijack the narrative for everybody. But there is a tendency on the left to point to what they would like to call the bad actions of the minority on the right, and completely overlook their own actions. And the thing that I think brought me around to this was something that my father said. So when I was about your age, the My Lai massacre occurred in Vietnam. And I was very anti-Vietnam. I was protesting with everybody. And so when I heard about the My Lai massacre, I said to my father, you see how bad America is? Imagine, the soldiers going in and massacring this village. And my father pointed out to me that only in America would their own soldiers be taken to a court and taken to account for this atrocity. And that it was actually something to be proud of. That in the West, we hold people accountable for their bad actions when it's possible to do so. And I'm also reminded of it recently when war broke out in Israel after October the 7th. Some people I know in very influential circles started throwing around things and they said things like, aha, what about the Dawabsha baby? And the Dawabsha baby is a horrible story, and I think many people on this site will know of that. That's the little girl who baby who was burnt to death, supposedly, allegedly, by Israeli settlers, little Arab baby. But it's the same story. Israel held those people to account. You may agree or disagree with the extent to which they held them to account, but they held them to account. Okay. And I would like you to name me one person that the Palestinian Authority has ever prosecuted for killing an Israeli or a Jew. Just one person. So when you look at the bad that happens on one side or the other, it's never going to be perfect. Things are going to be problematic from time to time. But in Western societies, we are held to account for what we do most of the time, not all the time. Yes, people get away with stuff and stuff like that. But there is an attitude, a desire to hold people to account. And the other thing is also been well pointed out here already. It's that I know you feel that part of your fear lies with alienating your peers on the left. And that should tell you everything, because you're here with people who are largely leaning towards the right, at least. And none of us are rejecting you, Samantha, because you don't believe necessarily what we believe. We absolutely accept you. We absolutely accept your right to question. In fact, we welcome it, because that's the kind of society we want to build, a society where people are held accountable and where there are humans, good humans, who question the things that aren't right. This is a society you can build on and you can make it better. A society you can't question is not a society you can ever improve. And that's just what I want to share with you.
That
Thank
was
you,
beautiful.
Jilly. Okay, next up we have Ida.
Hey, yeah, Julie said it very well. I personally feel touched by Samantha because um, I have never been in a cult. I can only kind of understand what she's going through, because going out of a thing that you were so sure that is true, and you were, I don't know, whether brainwashed, whether brought up in this. I'm not, Samantha, I'm not talking about only you and people in general, like cults or religions that are very, and to start to see the other side. I understand why are you afraid and why it's scary for you, because things are like, right, like the earth is not like crumbling under your feet, and what you think was right is maybe not right. Do I understand you correctly somehow? So I feel you, and thank you for sharing. And you're very brave, yes, and you should ask questions, and you're very brave to come up and just explore the world. Thank you, thank you, Samantha. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, next we have Armin, then Jeffrey, and we'll have Samantha close it out.
Can I please just quickly also say one more thing, actually, real quick?
Yep.
Please. Okay. Just yeah. Another thing is, if like, what's scary is it's like, because if America is kind of like the reason why there's so much bad in the world, then if you're in America, you feel like you have more power to like,
Wait, can you say that again? You were
you
cut.
know,
Your audio
fix
was cut.
what's
Oh,
bad in the world, if that makes sense.
I didn't hear any of
So
that. Did you guys hear that? Oh my god.
realizing that like a lot of the things that are bad in the world are
You're breaking up, Samantha.
okay.
Samantha,
Yeah.
can you
So like
try?
if you're in America and you wait, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go on.
Can you hear me now? If like you're in America and you believe that America is the reason there's so much bad in the world, then that automatically means that you have like some power and control to like change the fact that there's so much bad in the world. So then to have to like realize like, oh wait, it's not because of America that there's this much bad in the world, means that you have to now accept that like you have less power to like fix what's wrong in the world than you thought you.
Okay. So can I go now? Is it my turn? Okay. Okay. First of all, that's not true, Samantha, because actually it's the opposite. If you realize that America is such a force for good in the world, that means as an American, you actually have more influence to increase the contribution to the world than other citizens in the world. You know, you as an American citizen, you have a lot of power now because you are in the most influential country. And again, I acknowledge that United States is a, has contributed way more good than bad to the world, but it doesn't mean that the bad doesn't exist. Just because America is great, it doesn't mean that it can't get better. There's a lot room for improvement. There's a lot room for improvement. There's still so many bad things that needs to be fixed, right? So everybody um, can contribute. So I don't see that. I don't see. Um, I mean, we're so, even though we have made so much progress, and I see that progress and I'm encouraged by that progress, we're not at all close to where we want to be, right? So we have so much more ahead of us than and we all could be contributing to that. So there's a lot of work that we could do together. I do wanted to mention, Samantha, that there were a lot of people in the YouTube chat that were proud of you, and they were saying they're proud of Samantha, even though they might disagree with your points. They were very encouraged to see how brave you are. It's not easy leaving a cult. Um, and I understand that. I left Islam, and I've seen so many other people leaving Islam, and a lot of people don't understand the emotional challenges associated with being, because they think a lot of people who haven't been in cults or ideologies that are so dominating, they don't, take over your mind. They think that, oh, it's just changing your views. They think it's just about being presented with facts, and then recognizing that your previous belief doesn't represent reality, and then you therefore just change it, as if you could just, it's like changing your clothes, because they haven't gone through this. They don't understand that these clothes are like sewed into your body. Okay, because it's not just the ideas, it's the people. It's the people. And they don't understand that changing your leaving these ideas behind comes with a judgment from the people that you cared about, or maybe even continue care about, on such a deep level, and it touches us in a the human mind cares more about acceptance than anything else, right? And it fears being shamed, and it fears being rejected more than anything else. So these ideologies take advantage of that. So it's not just about understanding what is true, it's about accepting that these people who I was connected with on such a deep level are now going to reject me or hate me or shame me because of these new views that I have, right? And people don't take that into account, and they just give you facts. They just keep giving you facts, and none of these facts is going to help with that. None of these facts is going to help with this pain that you're going to feel from giving up on the friends and people that you cared about and you loved and you were so connected to. And they keep giving you information and they keep giving you data, and they don't understand that part of it. All right. And that's a deep part of it. That's like, people can't underestimate the emotional part of it. We humans, we're social animals. We're deeply emotional social animals, and we care about our position in society and how we're viewed by other human beings more than we care about food, more than we care about anything else, more than we care about sex, food, or anything else. How we're viewed is the highest priority thing that we work for. Everything, most of what we do is to achieve that, to be seen by other people as good, be accepted by the people that we care about. All right. And our beliefs are part of that. And I just wanted to let you know that I know that you have done a lot of work, and it's been hard, and people who haven't gone through this don't understand that, and I'm proud of you. I'm really proud of you. Okay. um And also, by the way, Jilly, a lot of people in the chat, YouTube chat, were really loving what you're saying. And I just noticed that you don't have access to our VIP discussion. So I just wanted to make sure that I made you VIP so you could be in our VIP discussions as well. And one thing else is, okay, so one thing I understand that when it comes to changing people's opinions, giving anecdotal evidence, or giving people's I completely agree with this idea that giving people's anecdotes and my life story doesn't help at all when it comes to trying to convince people of a different viewpoint. Okay, I completely agree with that. That's so on point. But on top of that, I do want to add that sometimes we sharing our stories or giving anecdotes, the goal is not necessarily to convince other people that my view is correct and you guys are wrong, right? And I think this is something that we need to appreciate. Sometimes people just need to be heard, and we're listening to them, and we're listening to their story and their life story and their personal experience, not to be convinced, because that's just one data point, right? That's not data, that's not a study, that's not an academic research. We're going to listen to that, not because that's going to convince us that another worldview is correct and ours is incorrect, but we're listening to them just for the sake of listening to them, because people want to be heard, and people want their stories to be heard, and people want their perspective and their life experiences to be heard by other people. So we listen to it as a way to show them that we care about them, and we're hearing them, right? Not everything is about, debates and facts and convincing people of our views or their views. Sometimes you just listen to somebody just so that they know that they have somebody that will listen to them. Okay, and I saw a couple of more twos in the chat. Wait, is anybody counting
I
the
think
two?
he left. Does anyone remember if it was Jeff and then
it was Jeff and then Ida and then super chats and
please.
then nothing. Yeah, and then normal. Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely appreciate Samantha sharing her experience. It very much illustrates the victims of leftist propaganda co-opting people's youthful exuberance to make the world a better place to support their bullshit sedition. I mean, think of the narrative that you keep hearing, right? The United States is like the most benevolent system leader in recorded human history by any measure you care to use. George Floyd, he was a ruthless asshole and violent drug addict who held a friggin' pistol to a pregnant black woman's stomach when he did an armed house invasion. Did that mean he deserved to die? No. That said, the solutions to address, say, overreaction by law enforcement, non-lethal directed energy weapons like ADT, LRAD, pulse energy projectiles, sticky foam, MRAMPs with embedded paramedics via the 1033 program, that was all undermined by bug-eyed fucking alien-looking limousine socialists like AOC and her squad of similarly self-absorbed douche canoes. I mean, that's the problem, right? Leftists either creating, co-opting, misrepresenting, and weaponizing any crisis to serve as a backdrop for their sedition without a fucking care in the world of the harm they cause to the very previously vulnerable demographics they brazenly claim to speak for. You're seeing that in Iran, right? You can see the weaponization of the selective application of alleged consideration the left purports to have. They bitch and moan about gay marriage, yet say nothing of gay kids hung from the neck till dead from a crane by the mullah regime or beheaded in Chop Square. You got a bunch of privileged limousine socialist bitches wearing pussy hats because President Trump posted a mean tweet, yet say nothing of the abuse suffered by women under the mullah regime. Nothing about Netta Aga Sultan, nothing about Misha, nothing about Soraya M, nothing about women having acid thrown in their face. They don't give a fuck. The left immediately co-opted the death of George Floyd to cash in on manufactured outrage via the Act Blue disbursement scam. I helped blow that in, yet didn't think to reach out to NOBLE, which is the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives that was created in the 70s to address the disconnect between Americans of African descent community and like law enforcement. I mean, it's just a fucked up ideology. It's super shitty, super predatory, and it does ungodly damage to everything it touches, whether it was what it did to the United States and the Western Alliance via Soviet active measures, or the shit that they helped cause when they took down the noble house of Pahlavi via the Red-Black Alliance. So I'll say this, man. I mean, like Jessica, obviously, there's times where you like frustrate the shit out of me. I very much appreciate the fact you do the work you do. And I mean everything I say to you, critical and things I say in PM when I said I have a lot of love for you. And if you ever wanted help to move that needle, I'm always there for you. I just fucking hate leftists because they're bags of shit.
Wow, that was Epic. A lot of people. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. All right.
Well said.
So,
Ida, please.
but
Hey, can you hear me?
yes, Ida, go ahead. By the way, guys, that was
Yeah,
not
I
an
just
attack on Samantha. Just to be clear, that was not an attack on Samantha. Okay, and Samantha, we love Samantha. We love Samantha, and we're proud of Samantha and everything that she's doing. Samantha has made so much progress. Just to be clear. Go on. Sorry, Ida. Sorry, interrupting.
That's okay. No, I just wanted to add again to what you were saying about how it's hard to live a cult, a religious ideology. You were referring to, yes, you're leaving your people behind and your peers behind, and the criticism. But even that is scary. I don't know if it's scarier. What's more scarier is that you come to understand that something that you inside of you is now kind of breaking, but in a good way. So you could see the other side, but it's still really like mentally and psychologically on yourself, with yourself, like your brain is like wired to think that, but then again you realize there's maybe something else. So it's confusing and it's scary and it's hard. So hugs, and do you get what I'm saying? It's not only thinking about the outside, it's like how do you say, vortex inside of you, from your own perspective, like, who am I now? What am I saying? What was it? I was taught all of that, and suddenly maybe it's not true, maybe it is true. What, who, where? It's very confusing. So that's all. I feel
Thank
for
you.
Samantha, so
Oh,
and for all those people who are like, because even if you are brought up in complete evil, right, and you believe that it's right but it's wrong, but for you it's right, seeing the other side, it's, again, like you said, you can give all the reasons and the analytical things, but it's just so much work inside of you that needs to be done if people choose to do that. And Samantha, yes, I'm proud of you. It doesn't matter, like, and I think extremists from either, like, that's why we have to find balance, right? And I think maybe working on your better self, and it will be okay. Just I believe it's gonna be okay. Thank you.
yeah, and honestly, part of the reason why we hate some of these leftist cults is what they do to people like Samantha, right? That's part of it. Okay, and also
Any cult, anything that 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 makes your mind work like that, and your beliefs like that, right?
yes, exactly. All right, let me just read a couple of super chats. Sayed just gave us a $5 super sticker. Thank you so much, Sayed. And then Melcat Woman, thank you so much for the super chat saying Bepish. And then Michael with a $20 super chat saying, I think what's Samantha. Okay, so here. Yeah, Melcat Woman, I read that one. Thank you so much. And thank you, Sayed. So this is for Samantha. Samantha, can you Michael is saying that trying to see if he has an understanding of what you're saying, so you could confirm if this is correct or not. Okay, so Michael is saying, I think what Samantha is trying to say is that we must recognize the good, bad, and ugly. As humans, we're not perfect. Every nation has spilled blood, but we've pioneered Western values and ideas. What do you think?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I wouldn't say America pioneered Western values and ideas. I think, it changes who is like the most like, best at having certain views, and like who's the most humane, I think kind of changes like which society all the time. And I think by pretending like the West is like just innately always been, and always it leads you to think like the West will always be. And it's, if we lose track of I don't think the West has always been the most humane. I think it might be the most humane now, but it hasn't always been the most humane. If we pretend that it's inherently Western, then and that it's always been this way, then we are susceptible to thinking that'll always be this way, and then become lazy and stop taking accountability, which is dangerous. But yes, we should recognize like good and the bad and take like honest inventory.
Can I ask you a question, Samantha? Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but the thing is, you say we need to take accountability. We've been taking accountability for decades now, with the idea that the West has a debt to pay to the world for all of our sins, all the bad we've ever done, and of course, the West has done bad things. Who hasn't? Especially in the past, people used to be a lot more brutal than they are now, comparatively speaking. This has been drilled into people's heads for several decades now, that the West is an innately evil culture that must be destroyed. It must be held accountable for all the sins it's committed. It has to be punished. It has to be destroyed. That's the idea. I mean, this has been pushed over and over and over again, to the point where we're now being invaded and colonized by radical Muslim savages who are raping tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of women and girls in the West, and we turn a blind eye to it because we're scared of being called racist. And the governments, the various governments, especially Britain, has purposely covered it up. Covered for them, often participated in, actually, cops, bribed, to look the other way. They've joined into it, especially Muslim cops who've also infiltrated the police. And this is the fruit of the absolute self-hatred that has consumed the West, that has possessed the West. This is what we've gotten out of that. We know what we did in the past. We know the good, we know the bad. We get it, but it's been drilled into our fucking heads to the point where we absolutely fucking despise ourselves and are willing to let our women get raped just so we can avoid being called racist. And that's where we are. And now the backlash is coming, and it's going to get ugly. We've talked about this many times. You know my feelings on this. You know how fucking radical I am about this. People are tired of this. They're tired of the flagellation. They're tired of being demonized. And this is where we are. We've gone too far in that direction. I'm not even saying you're wrong. That you're totally wrong. We've done good. We've done bad. Absolutely. But the bad has been drilled so deeply into us that we cannot even recognize the good anymore. For many of us, I mean, I do, and even you increasingly do so, and that's a great thing. You were brainwashed. You're trying to get out of it, and I applaud you for that. So this isn't a personal attack. I'm just saying that what you're talking about is something that has been done over and over and over again for many decades now, and we're bearing the fruit of that, and that fruit is extremely rotten.
I think we're having a problem with extremism right now, where it's like both sides are going too far to the extreme. And
there is, yeah, go on.
People absolutely have gone lost their shit and gone too far to the extreme, and
well, I hear you. I mean,
automatically assume that everything is like the West's fault, and like can go more like. We also didn't have people who just are, we have too many people who just aren't willing to take basic accountability in this country for the fucked up shit this country's done, and
but who
to some extent, and then
but who has to take
so many people in the chat are like just defending the murder of George Floyd, where it's like,
listen, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't like listen. I don't like Floyd. I think he's a fucking scumbag. But I don't give a damn about Derek Chauvin either. I'm gonna be honest with you. As far as I'm concerned, he can stay where he is. He didn't know Floyd. He didn't know what fucking scumbag he was. His presence of mind was such that the guy, people can talk about that, the drug overdose, all that shit. He had this fucking knee on his neck for 10 minutes. We can debate it. That's fine. Look, David Koresh, he was also a scumbag. Randy Weaver was a scumbag. That doesn't mean I like what happened at fucking Waco. And that doesn't mean that I like the fact that Randy Weaver's wife got shot in the fucking head. You don't have to like these people, and you don't have to like George Floyd. The guy robbed a pregnant woman at gunpoint. I don't mourn him by any means. And trying to lionize him, as many people have, has actually been very counterproductive. You can make the case that what happened was wrong, and people can agree or disagree with it, without lionizing George Floyd. You don't have to do that. We can debate the merits of that on its own grounds without lionizing the man. But yeah, just like you don't have to lionize David Koresh.
I have a question. Like like when it comes to the cop, I'm not married to my position. I saw some evidence that he was just following protocol, but I'm not married to that position. Hold on, just let me finish my thought.
Sure, man. Sorry.
That is not like if anybody shows to me that no, the guy. My point, Samantha, I was not excusing anyone's killing. Everybody here that didn't like George Floyd was also saying that he didn't deserve to die. Right? Nobody here made it. Nobody here said that he deserved to die, even if he was a criminal scumbag. When it comes to the police doing the right thing or doing the wrong thing, I'm sure. I have a position. I'm not married to it. If anybody shows to me that the police fucked up, I'm like, okay, well then punish him. And if I see evidence that no, he was just following protocol, then I'm like, okay, well then free him. Like that's a position that I'm willing to completely change easily. But go on, Digital. Like I don't know about the cop.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not married to mine either. Like I said, you can debate drugs versus the neonatal. I don't think the guy was getting up. I think the guy was pretty much gone at that point. It's like, okay, you're following the protocol of your position. Okay, I mean, you could say about a lot of things. Like just following the rules in and of itself is not an excuse to me. Because you're following the protocol because the protocols can be wrong. But
you don't know that. Like if you're a cop, you're like. The people who wrote the protocol have came up with the protocol saying that this is the safest thing to do. So I'm not like I don't know what kills people. Like I can't make it as a cop. If I'm a cop, like what am I supposed to do? Like do like a biology, like a medical assessment, with regards to this, whether this protocol is going to.
I just think putting your knee on the back of a drug some high druggie's head and neck for 10 minutes. It's just.
But that's exactly what they tell you to do. But that's what they tell you to do. So they should. So that's not his fault. If it's wrong, if it's wrong, then the people who came up with the protocol, they are the ones who should be criticized.
Sure.
The person who's wrong. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but that just seems obvious to me. Like if somebody told him to jump off a fucking bridge, is he going to do that because that's protocol? I don't know. I'm just coming at. Okay. I'm just saying. Like all I'm saying is. We can debate that, but you can do that without admitting without saying that George Floyd was a good guy, because that ain't what I'm saying.
Let me just defend myself, because people in the chat are saying that, I mean, like watch the video. I'm completely willing to be like, yeah, okay, like I'm not at all married to this position. The only thing I know is that George Floyd shouldn't be turned into a hero because he was like not a good person. That's the position that I'm like comfortable with. With the cops,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm completely willing to switch based on evidence on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you, bro. I feel you.
I agree. Yeah, like, okay, yes, George Floyd was not a good fucking person, and I can agree with that. But like, the cop doesn't have a right to be judge, jury, and executioner. Like, the cop should not be acting with more force than what is necessary to neutralize a situation.
Yeah.
I don't think the cop was trying to. I mean, I don't think the cop was like, "Let me execute this man." To be fair, but go on.
It's right. It's a debatable issue. We can debate that, but I think you can do that without lionizing Floyd. You don't have to do that. You can't separate the two. It's like I said about, like, say, David Koresh. The guy was a fucking scumbag. He's a pedophile. I don't like what happened in Waco. I don't like that 58 children died as a result of that. They burned alive. Randy Weaver's wife was shot in the fucking head while holding her baby. He was a neo-Nazi. He eventually got acquitted of his gun charges. I don't like Nazis. I don't like David Koresh. I don't like pedophiles. But that doesn't mean Waco was good. That doesn't mean what happened with Weaver's wife was good either. You don't have to like either of those guys. That's all I'm saying. That's something we can talk about.
So the job.
But yeah, George Floyd was a scumbag.
I know. I see a lot of people want to make this keep talking about this. But I need to go. I see Sketch and Jeffrey wanting to talk about this. But you guys could continue talking about it when I'm not here. But guys, please, when I'm not here, I know I don't need to say this, but I'm gonna say this anyways. Please be nice to Samantha, okay? Please protect Samantha at all costs, okay? Everyone here.
Yeah.
Okay? So
No, we're gonna eat her alive. I'm gonna eat her alive.
Let's go. By the way, I just one more thing. I was going to say Thomas Sowell. He used to be a communist too. He was a fucking communist back in the day.
Okay.
Our own Susanna was an Antifa.
Dejal, like I'm telling you, I really need to go because so you could talk.
Okay. Sorry,
but
sorry, bro. I'm not trying to hold you.
I need to do two things before I go. I need to do two things. First of all,
I'm sorry.
Yes, Amir.
Sorry, bro.
Amir gave us a super chat saying, "Did Dejal voice Shere Khan, the Jungle Book?" Wait. Oh, yeah. The tiger. Is that the tiger in the Jungle Book? I forgot what his name was. Okay. So did you voice that, Dejal? Just yes or no? And thank you, Amir, for the super chat. Okay. I'm assuming that's a no. Okay. And then.
Yeah.
What's that name? Was that his name? Yeah. The tiger in Jungle Book. Did you voice him? Yes. Okay. That's a yes. He did.
Oh.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, you did. Thank you for that. And then Texas was asking Samantha, Texas Troop was asking Samantha, do you think America has had a national reckoning with its racist past?
I think it's had to a large extent, but like the problem is we're in an age of polarization. And it's like some people going off the deep end with taking things too far, and then but there's still a lot of people who aren't there yet in terms of where willingness to acknowledge and have that reckoning. So it's complicated because it's we're just so polarized right now that it's people are going into one of two extremes, and it's easy to look at the other side and say we've gone too far or we haven't had that yet, because there is because regardless of which side you're on, it's you're right. Yes, a substantial part of the society, they go too far, and a substantial part of the society has not gone far enough.
So Texas Troop is saying that's progress. So she's saying that's progress, Samantha. And then we got another super chat from Sketch, which I don't know. I don't understand. So Sketch is here. Thank you, by the way, Sketch, saying defenders of George Floyd forget the dead from riots always. Oh, okay. Yes, they do. That's actually they do. Yeah, good point. Good point from Sketch. And thank you, Sketch. And okay, let me just stop the recording here. And guys, sorry for rushing you at the end. You guys could continue the conversation without me. Be nice to each other, please. Thank you, guys. And until next time, I'm Israel Chai. Slava Ukrainia. Long live America. Javid Shah. Payende Iran. My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.